Hello everyone. Please try this warm-up before you start the lesson. Expand and simplify each of these expressions. Then, take a look at this expression, figure out what it was in the factored form, based on the patterns you find up here. Pause the video and try the warm-up. Well, for the first one, remember expand and simplify means each of these terms gets multiplied by each of these terms. We end up with this. The like terms simplify. Negative 2x plus 2x is 0, so we're just left with x squared minus 4. For the next one, we have x squared minus 25, and for this one, we have 4x squared minus 9. Now, maybe you've noticed a pattern. Look at the answers you got and what the question looked like. And then you can figure out what goes here for the next one. Did you see it? X plus 4 times x minus 4 will get us x squared minus 16. Keep this in the back of your mind as we get into the lesson today. We're still talking about how to change to factored form. If you start with standard form, you can turn it into factored form. But we're going to focus on special cases of factoring. So we've looked at common factoring, we've looked at simple trinomials, and we've looked at complex trinomials. Now we're just going to finish up with a few special cases of factoring. We're going to factor a difference of squares and perfect square trinomials. So we'll talk about what those are and how you can work with those. Now before we get going, just for knowing some terminology, when I say perfect squares, this is what I mean. These are the first 10 perfect squares right here, and this is how I got them. 1 squared, 2 squared, 3 squared, 4 squared, 5 squared, etc. The answers of those are the perfect squares. So if you see any of these numbers, 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, 81, or 100, or we could keep going, but if you see any of these numbers, they are perfect squares. And when I say difference of squares, this is what I mean. If I have 9 minus 4, I'm finding the difference between 9 and 4. Okay, so that's the word difference. Now, look at 9 and 4. These were in that list of perfect squares. So because I'm finding the difference between two perfect squares, that's like saying 3 squared minus 2 squared, I'm finding the difference of squares. So now we know what perfect squares are, and we know what a difference of squares means. It means we're subtracting two square numbers. Now I hope you can see that this is also a difference of squares, x squared minus 9, because I can write that as the difference of two square numbers, x squared minus 3 squared. So just because I have a variable doesn't mean I can't still have it as a square. It's just I don't know what the variable is. I don't know the value of the variable, but I do know it's being squared, so it is a square number. So if you see x squared and you're subtracting another number from it, if that number is a square number, then you have a difference of squares. So here is the question I want to work through first. I'm asked to factor the difference of squares. This is a difference of squares because x squared minus 81 is the same as x squared minus 9 squared. So we have a difference of squares. Let's factor this the way we have been. I hope you can see that x squared minus 81 is the same as x squared plus 0x minus 81. I've just inserted a middle term. Now I have a simple trinomial. And if you'll recall, when we have a simple trinomial, we can factor it by finding two numbers that multiply to negative 81 and add to 0. Well, my numbers are positive 9 and negative 9. So when I factor a difference of squares, I end up with this. Now let's get a shortcut. X squared minus 25 is a difference of squares because it's x squared minus 5 squared. Now when we factor this, we'll get this as our answer. X plus 5 times x minus 5. Notice the square root of x squared is x. The square root of 5 squared is 5. I always end up with the square roots of my two terms in the brackets. I just have a positive sign in one and a negative sign in the other. So that's really the shortcut. If I have x squared minus 25, I can jump right to the answer to get to the factored form. Square root of x squared is x, square root of 25 is 5, plus in one, minus in the other. So now you try. Factor these two expressions. Pause the video and try it. Here you go. Is this what you got? If not, and you're not sure where the error was, let me know before you move on. All right, here's another question. Now you look at this and you see an x squared minus, and you see 64, which is 8 squared. So you might be thinking this is a difference of squares, so I'm going to factor it like that. 16x squared, the square root of that is 4x. Square root of 64 is 8, plus in one, minus in the other, done. However, this is not actually fully factored. We forgot to look for common factoring first. So we look at 16 and we look at 64. The greatest common factor is 16. So when 16 is the greatest common factor, the other factor must be x squared minus 4. Now this is a difference of squares with smaller numbers, and I can factor this like I did in the previous example. So just watch out. Just because you see a minus sign and two square numbers doesn't necessarily mean you should just automatically jump to this part, because you always have to be on the lookout for greatest common factor so that we can factor fully. So now it's your turn. Factor these expressions fully. Pause the video and try it yourself. Did you get these? There was no greatest common factor in either of these, so this is what you should end up with. And if you didn't, and you're not sure what the problem is, you should pause the video and let me know before you move on. Here's another example where we're asked to factor fully. Look at this. 3x squared minus 27. Well, 3 is not a square number. 27 is not a square number, so you might be thinking this is not a difference of squares. However, again, let's make sure we're always looking for the greatest common factor first. In this case, the greatest common factor is 3. And the other factor is x squared minus 9, because 3 times x squared is 3x squared, and 3 times minus 9 is minus 27. This factor is a difference of squares. So we can factor that even further. The square root of x squared is x. The square root of 9 is 3. Plus in one, minus in the other. Here's the fully factored form. Now you try. Here's two expressions. I'd like you to factor them fully. So pause the video and try this one on your own. Here it is. In each case, there was a greatest common factor we factored out first, and then we factored the other part as a difference of squares. Again, if you're getting stuck and you're not sure what's going on, you should pause the video and ask for some help before you move on. All right, now let's reflect. Brenda and Beatrice both say they factored correctly. Who is right? So here's Brenda's work. Here's Beatrice's work. Take some time to think. Pause the video if you need to. Brenda forgot to do common factoring first, so did not factor fully. Beatrice factored fully. So good job, Beatrice. You fully factored the expression. Brenda, you factored it, and it was done properly, but it wasn't fully factored. So the point I'm trying to make is always look for the greatest common factor first, like Beatrice. Don't be like Brenda. I want to change direction a little bit here. I still want to talk about factoring, but just a different special case. So I'm not going to talk about a difference of squares anymore. This is a complex trinomial, and in the previous lesson, I showed you how to factor a complex trinomial. we know we have to multiply 9 times 4, that's 36, and we need to decompose the middle term into two terms that multiply to 36 and add up to 12. Well, that's 6 and 6, so 12x decomposes into 6x plus 6x. Now I factor by grouping. So the greatest common factor of 9x squared and 6x is 3x. I'm left with 3x plus 2 as the other factor, because 3x times 3x is 9x squared, and 3x times 2 is 6x. The greatest common factor of the second group is 2, and we're left with 3x plus 2, because 2 times 3x is 6x, and 2 times 2 is 4. Now I notice that 3x plus 2 is the greatest common factor in the next line. So there it is, and I'm left with 3x plus 2 as the other factor. Now look at this, 3x plus 2 times 3x plus 2. Well, I'm multiplying the same thing by itself, so I can simplify it like this, 3x plus 2 squared, because squaring means you're multiplying it by itself, and that's what I was doing. Now, this is called a perfect square trinomial because it comes from squaring a binomial. All right, so if I have a trinomial and I factor it and I end up squaring a factor, that means this was a perfect square trinomial. Now, if you have a perfect square trinomial, there is a shortcut for how to go right to the factored form. Look at this. What's the square root of 9x squared? 3x. What's the square root of 4? 2. That's it. 3x plus 2, and I'm squaring it. It will get me this perfect square trinomial. So now the question is, how do you know if you're starting with a perfect square trinomial? So here's an example where I'm asking, is it a perfect square trinomial? How do you know? Well, if it is, then the square root of this plus the square root of this squared would get me this answer. So you can just try it. The square root of 25x squared is 5x. The square root of 9 is 3. Square that and see what you get. Well, when I do that, remember you're squaring it, you're multiplying it by itself. Expand and simplify, you end up with this. Hey, that looks the same as what I started with. So it worked. That means it is a perfect square trinomial. So quite simply, if you want to know if it's a perfect square trinomial, just try it and see. So here's a different example. Same question, is it a perfect square trinomial? 25x squared plus 15x plus 9. Let's test it. The square root of 25x squared is 5x. The square root of 9 is 3. Square that, see what you get. Well, when I do it, I get this answer, and that's not the same as above, so it didn't work. It's not a perfect square trinomial. So now it's your turn. I have the question, is it a perfect square trinomial? There's two different trinomials, and I want you to see which of them are perfect square trinomials. So pause the video and try this. Well, the first one is not a perfect square trinomial, but the second one is. Here's how I know. I tried 4x plus 3 squared. So when I square that, I get 16x squared plus 24x plus 9. Well, that's this one, not this one. So this is not perfect square trinomial. This is a perfect square trinomial. Now here's the challenge question. A rectangle has an area that is represented by the following equation. Area is equal to 9x squared plus 6x plus 1. I don't know the dimensions of the rectangle, but I want you to write expressions for the length and width. And then, if you know that x is 7 centimeters, what is the length? Or what is the width? Also, if the length was increased by 2 centimeters and the width was decreased by 2 centimeters, write a new expression for the area in standard form. So there's quite a few little skills going on here that you can review. If you're up for the challenge, pause the video and try it. When I factor the area, I get the dimensions, length times width. Now it turns out that the length and width are the same. This is a square. The length is 3x plus 1 and the width is 3x plus 1. When I do length times width, I get the area 9x squared plus 6x plus 1. So this was a perfect square trinomial. All right, so we've got expressions for the length and width. Now I know that x is 7, so I can calculate what the length is and what the width is. They're both 22 centimeters. The length is increased by 2 centimeters, so instead of 3x plus 1, it's now 3x plus 3. And the width was decreased by 2 centimeters, so instead of 3x plus 1, it's now 3x minus 1. Write a new expression for the area in standard form. Well, here's the area, length times width. Multiply it out, expand and simplify. This is the new area expression. And now it's time to practice. So take what you know about difference of squares and perfect square trinomials and see how you do. If you run into any issues, please reach out for help.